I just finished an interview with a photo booth owner that is brand new in the business, but has grown exponentially in literally just a month. They've blown up on TikTok. They have a viral video, several of them, and I share all of that with you in this interview today. Here is our interview behind the booth with Dreamlight Photo Booth. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you? I am so good to see you.
Hi. It's
So
so
glad to
good to
see you.
see you too. And I was just saying earlier how, I'm fangirling. So,
Stop.
so to meet you is such an exciting thing, with
I
all your videos. So it's just like, oh my God.
You're so sweet, but I've been so excited to talk to you.
Mhm.
I've been watching your growth, I've been watching your accounts, and I'm so excited to ask you these questions today and to kind of introduce you to all of the followers and share your story with them because I think it's really inspirational. So I'm excited to dive right in. So if you wouldn't mind, share who you are, where you're from, what your booth is, and kind of your story on how you even got started into the photo booth biz.
Oh yeah, for sure. So hi, my name is Shar. I'm one half of Dreamlight Photo Booth with my partner. We're currently based in Orange County, California. And then when do we start? So we started around April of this year. So it's fairly new. So that's why it's, such an overwhelming response, given, all the videos that we made at the same time, the people who have reached out. It's just honestly humbling and we're just grateful. And we feel like we're still learning in the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're just kind of excited why, we're here. And yeah, did I answer that? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, great.
So I would love to know kind of
Mhm.
the origin of why photo booths in the first place. Like, where did that idea come from?
Yeah, for sure. So, my partner and I, we were both into photography, but nothing too professional to the point that we're not wedding photographers or anything. Although I have worked in events in the past, and so I know what it's like to like, organize an event, take photos behind the scenes and all the setup and everything like that. And so yeah, so we were both into photography and I've always had a thing for marketing as well because that's kind of like, what I do. So when we first started, we wanted to sort of like start something together and but we never really had the courage to do so. So and then but what we knew that we wanted to start with was our primary goal is we wanted something that can bring people together, whether that's like smiles or building a community. We just knew that we wanted something to bring people together. So we initially started with food because, he likes to eat and I like to cook, but there were a lot of risks involved that we knew that we weren't ready to take on, especially during this time in our lives. And none of us are really in the food industry, so it is a risky business, right? So we kind of like thought about it and then we realized that his brother is actually a photo booth attendant for another photo booth company, and then he's been sharing all the fun times that he's had with parties and events, and it's always like interesting for us to hear every time he would come home and we would hear all these things. And I feel like the number one thing that we really saw in him was the joy he
Yeah.
had of bringing people together through photos, because uh wedding photographers are always for the bride and groom, but the
Mhm.
photo booth pictures are always for the guests. And that's something that we thought that, oh, we did photography, we know marketing and stuff. So why not marry the whole idea? And it seemed like the perfect opportunity to just start. And I was the one who was like kind of forcing him to start because he was super we're extremely busy, but I was like, I think we should do it. I think we should do it. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And then he really saw in me that I really had a brand or a vision in mind before the product itself. So I'll go I'll dive deeper in a bit. But yeah, that's basically how we kind of started.
I
Yeah.
love that. Literally, like as you were saying that, I'm like tearing up because I relate to that so much. Just that passion of
Hmm.
bringing people together. Like, are you
Hmm.
kidding? Like, that's the heartbeat of what we do. and
Exactly.
the fuel for what we do. It's like what gets us up in the morning, you know, like
Mhm.
people always say to me when I'm at events, like, oh, you have the coolest job. I'm like, yes, this is the fun
Mhm.
part. Like all the
Yeah.
other stuff is hard work, you know, behind the
Yeah.
scenes. But getting to be at the events, like that's the best part, to see the joy, to see the smiles, like it's the best thing. So I
Yeah.
love hearing that side of it.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
love hearing that it came from that place and not from a place of like, oh, I saw a financial opportunity to get
Mhm.
a return on my investment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that it came from a place of passion and love.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
thank
cool.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to ask,
Mhm.
what prompted the mirror booth? Like, what came, like, how did you come up with that design? Because there's, I mean, honestly, if like
Mhm.
you really dive in and research into
Mhm.
photo booths, there's a lot to choose from, but
Mhm.
you have like this retro style mirror photo
Mhm.
booth. It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, and it's expensive. It's an
Yeah.
investment. So I would
Mhm.
love to hear the why.
Yes, definitely. So, I have to be completely honest that I feel like I haven't really taken a look at, the rest of the photo booths, although I did my research for sure.
Yeah.
But, I feel like everyone will do enough research, but the more you do it, the more you will know what works for you,
Yeah.
what, will be like kind of like helpful for you. Cause, yeah, so going back to that, it's like I did not realize how heavy this thing was. It's totally not a beginner-friendly equipment at all compared to most. You need although you can do it for with one person, but it's like, it's just really challenging to do it with one person. So you always have to be like at least two, or at least we feel like, because like I really have no muscle. So it's like so
How heavy is it?
it's about 60 pounds.
Okay.
It's 60 pounds, and because of the leg structure of it, it's like a tripod sort of. So you have to like lay it flat on the floor, and then you have to screw it, and then and then obviously when you purchase it from manufacturers, they make it seem so easy because the videos that they show you is like, oh, big man, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, I think it's not that heavy at all, but it
Yeah.
actually was. And but anyway, so why the mirror booth? So when I first saw it, immediately I knew, obviously it was different. I saw again a vision, I saw a brand. I knew I wanted to build something around that rustic aesthetic theme that no, or at least very little photo booth companies have done. Because for a lot of photo booth companies, I feel like they just care about, the portability, the financial opportunity, how little investment it was, which, is not a bad thing. It's always whatever works for you. But I feel like I thought, at least knowing myself, it would really be hard to market given that everybody was the same.
Mm.
Essentially, so it's like, to really stand out, you really need to either have really super great quality of photos, or set up like that, which, because we haven't started, we knew, or at least I knew I couldn't do it. So I kind of went with the, okay, if everybody's not doing this, I'm gonna do it. So
Love it.
so that's kind of what happened. And I think that really worked for us because, again, I saw a brand more than the product. And I always emphasize that whenever I would share to people, because I feel like even though we think that the product is the main thing, but we don't realize, or we forget about the feeling or experience it brings. So it's like, everyone can have the same product, but like if one can bring this kind, let's say, a brand or a corporate experience versus like a wedding, then build around that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what our kind of like mirror booth did. It's like the feeling and experience of looking at yourself in the mirror, how aesthetic it was. So that's what we kind of leveraged on in terms of branding. And yeah, despite it being heavy, we knew we had to make it work because, customers don't really care, or clients don't really care
No.
if it's hard to set up or not. All they care is about, it's here, it looks good. And yeah, so I think that kind of paid off, us being different. And yeah, I'll share more about that later because I was terrified with the idea of it eventually, but yeah, it paid off.
Terrified of the idea of launching a business or the mirror booth specifically?
Yeah, the mirror booth
Okay.
specifically, because right, how like normally when you purchase the product from the manufacturer, that's when they add you to Facebook groups. And
Mm.
I'm like, okay, so that's when I learned, I found other photo booth owners who had a similar mirror, and they were selling it. So I was terrified because I was like, oh shoot, did we make the wrong decision? Because people started selling their business. They were saying that they never really got the clients. They only had like 3 events so far and whatever. So I was terrified because I was like, yeah, did we make the wrong decision? It's heavy. Apparently, based on other photo booth owners, it's not trendy enough. It's not, people might not like it and stuff. But, when I kind of researched further, I think I just ultimately saw that they did not know how to market. That's pretty much it. It's like, their price point was higher than, most, or basically it's like their price point wasn't really justifying the kind of experience that I know that they could bring. So
Mhm.
even though I was terrified, I was like holding on to it. I was like, let's see, let's see, let's see. And then now it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, great. So it's just really the marketing. So yeah.
I love that. Okay, so speaking of marketing,
Hmm.
TikTok.
Yes.
Holy crap, girl. You guys blew up on TikTok
Hmm.
within like a few days. Like,
Yeah.
right, like I just checked before this
Uh-huh.
interview. You guys are almost at 10,000 followers
Hmm. Hmm.
and you have almost 1 million views on one of your videos, like several
Hmm.
100,000 on your
Hmm.
other videos.
Hmm.
So, talk to me about the why behind TikTok, because I'll say this.
Hmm.
I'm on TikTok,
Yeah.
but it's like I really do. I love the app. I love the
Hmm.
platform. I know
Hmm.
the potential is absolutely there.
Hmm. Hmm.
But from my experience and what I've seen, it's difficult to like channel because it's worldwide. So it was
Yeah.
difficult for me specifically to like get people locally
Yeah.
because I would get interest, but it would be like from somewhere else. And then
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't know if this is actually working for the effort
Hmm.
that I'm putting into it.
Yeah.
But so I would love to hear your take on it. I would love to hear like
Hmm.
the why of TikTok,
Yeah.
especially from your marketing background
Hmm. Hmm.
and kind of the success that it's brought you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I totally get you. But yeah, I wanted to start with why TikTok. So on a personal level, I've been using TikTok as an experiment because, I do marketing, and it's like if I don't know how to use TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, like how can I be a credible marketer, right? So I've been experimenting with TikTok since 2021, post COVID. I started making TikToks for my cat, and it blew up to about 87,000 followers. So,
Wow.
but he's inherently cute, so that's annoying. But like, and people love pets. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I really saw the potential. We were getting collabs. We were getting paid to do these things. And I'm like, dude, he's just my cat. Like my cat's like
Wow.
self-sustaining now. He can pay rent. I
Oh
mean,
my
by himself.
God.
But like, but now I'm not really focused on that because I'm just generally busy. But yeah, so that's how it first started. And then I switched to starting my own, telling about my story, my life journey. And then I grew to 13,000 followers. So eventually, as I do it, you start to learn more about the strategies, the content, how you curate, what works, what doesn't. And it's never really like a single answer. It's always different. So, so TikTok definitely helps. I mean, I was like, when you gave me these questions, I started researching again. And, there are like 5 million small businesses who are using TikTok. And like, according to like Adweek and all those, it's like half of TikTok users buy the brands that they immediately see from the videos alone, and 36% of that is like Gen Z. So it really tells you something that, if you're a small business and you're not on TikTok, then you're really missing out. And even though like there are a lot of like talks about bands and stuff, you can always repurpose content, but like while we're still here, utilize it as much as, you can. So that's how I kind of like started with TikTok. And we were experimenting on so many different types of content. And I think I shared this before. It was like the content that you put out is really that's the kind of audience that you're attracting. So for us, because we have the mirror booth, we wanted to sort of focus on weddings because weddings have higher spending power, and at the same time they just really look good, and they're really fun, and you like bringing smiles to
Yeah.
to couples. So our TikTok is more like, what kind of feeling do we bring to you? What kind of feeling are we kind of like helping you at your on your wedding day. And
Yeah.
everybody knows on their wedding day, brides want aesthetic, brides want like, something wow, something like ethereal, something floral, and so that's what we were trying to like bring in. Yeah, it blew up, and we were like, and I get what you said. Like, it's really hard to sort of narrow down your audience. It's like we do get, I would say, like, out of the 500 inquiries that we got from TikTok,
Oh my God.
150 of those, and yeah, this is just like in a month's time. So it's crazy. So it's like 150 of those are, out of state or out of country. But at the same time, it was really nice because it really validates their interest. It really validates that your product and your branding works because you're attracting this much. So I feel like, don't necessarily like worry whether I'm not hitting California, I'm hitting others. It's totally fine because again, it validates, and it's always, and I like it because it's always an opportunity for me to refer somebody else. We haven't done white labeling just because we're just extremely busy, but like what I do is every time there's always out of state, I'm always like, oh my god, we actually have another photo booth company who can we can recommend, who has exactly the same booth as ours. So
I love
go
that.
reach out to them. So it's a nice way to help others. And yeah, and I think I was talking to one photo booth owner who had the exact same mirror as ours, and she's based in the Bay Area. She's like, oh, where are you guys getting these keys? You keep like messaging me every day. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but, we can't go to the Bay Area right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just fun. And again, it's also reputation and credibility. When people see that you have this much followers on TikTok, they feel like, oh, your brand is legit. You guys are not scamming. So yeah, so that's why it's like it's not something that you can just like set aside. So it's really something nice to grow. And really, yeah, the growth is just fast. I'm just like I can't keep up. So
That's
it's a good
so
problem, and
cool.
again, humbling. But yeah, yeah,
That's
it's amazing.
amazing. So 500 inquiries.
Mhm.
Did you have a CRM to manage all of these inquiries?
Yes. So we actually use HoneyBook through you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
Wow.
I mean, again, we just started, so we're definitely open to like experimenting on more, but we just don't have the time to, explore. So
Yeah.
HoneyBook will do for now. Yes, we do have a CRM. Every there are automations, but
Mhm.
personally, I guess because of our schedule, I can't say no to every single one all the time because we made it clear that when we started this, we would also prioritize family and friends. So that's why it's like it takes a while for me to respond. And then,
Yeah.
which I think is also nice because we get comments on our TikTok like, hey, we sent an inquiry. We already sent twice. We haven't heard from you guys. And we're like, yes, we will respond. I
Yeah.
mean, like, you're not gonna die, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
respond. And I think it brings that scarcity mentality in a way that people think, oh, now they're exclusive, which it sort of is because again, I'm the only one, responding. So it's like it's nice that people think like, oh my God, because they're so busy, I have to book them now for our wedding next year.
Yeah.
So we're like getting setting that stage. Okay, we're kind of like, we're busy, so s- do it.
Yeah. So out of that big number of 500, how
Mhm.
many did you actually book?
Yeah.
You don't have
So,
to tell specifically, like you can do like percentage.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I haven't responded to every single one, but
Yeah.
so far that we're into, I would say like, we because we started in April. Technically, we didn't start till like June
Yeah.
because April was more like friends, and then the whole of May we didn't do any event because my car broke down because
Oh.
somebody crashed into my car. So it was hard for us to, promise people that we can do your events at, locations that are really far. So I would say even just officially for a month, we already have about like 20
Wow.
for the remaining year, which is a lot for us to handle because, we're not ready to train other other attendants at the moment. We're just we really want to focus on quality at this point over
Mhm.
quantity because it's nothing too urgent for us at the moment. So but we feel like it's a good number. I know a lot of people who have done more for sure in the same time period as us, but we're taking things slow because we're busy with our other things. So, but
No,
we're
that's
happy.
that's a huge number,
Mhm.
especially part-time.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that's nothing to say, like nothing to put yourself down for. Like that's a huge accomplishment.
Thank
So
you.
kudos to you
Yeah.
guys for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
What would you say to photo booth owners who are like, "Ooh, I want to get on TikTok. I
Mhm.
just didn't know how." What would you say to them and recommend them? Like, what are some tried and true methods on TikTok?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I feel like first you really have to be in your customer or client's shoes.
Mm,
So it's like, how do you do that? Use the platform yourself. If you want to start on TikTok, you really have to use the TikTok platform. Same thing with other platforms. Like if you want to if you want to advertise on Facebook or Instagram, you really have to use it because if you don't use it, then it's going to be hard for you to know what works or doesn't work. So it's like as a consumer, like if you start using it as a consumer, you know what works for you and what doesn't. Like, how do certain products or brands make you feel? Does it make you feel like you want to purchase something, for your party, or does it, just by the video that you saw? Because again, advertising is really expensive. So if you don't, and I work with, my day job is advertising. So it's like if you don't know the type of content, or if you don't kind of it's like if you haven't really locked down the kind of content that's really gonna take time to spend money. It's like really it's super expensive basically. So if you don't use it, then that's going to be really hard. So first is definitely use the platform that you want, and then again, second, always think that the customers don't really care much about you until it involves them or build some kind of connection, or it will benefit them. So for example, I've seen a lot of TikTok videos, or TikTok, or not just TikTok, Instagram and websites of other photo booth owners who say things like, we finally have the guac, we finally have the salsa, which I'm so happy for you guys. But at the same time, for a customer, what is that? I don't
eh,
even know what that is. And even us, but before we started, we're like, why? What is that? So why am I seeing this on my Instagram feed? Why am I seeing this on my ad? So it's like, yeah, nobody's gonna care as much other than, the rest of the industry. But yeah, so it's like you really have to put out content that matters to them, that benefits them in some kind of way, whether that's like being a fun addition to their party, giving them extra giveaways that they don't need to, spend time on. So it's always about it always has to be customer centric. That's what I'm gonna say. And then I think my last advice is build a community and connection, because hard selling is not a thing anymore. It's always
mhm.
about soft selling. Take time to respond to comments. So it's like we take time to learn. I'm not Gen Z, I'm millennial, but like I take time to learn how Gen Z people speak on TikTok, whether that's like girl slay or like BRB, we're driving right now to Texas if we could, things
Yeah,
like that. It's like build a connection, because it's important. You eventually want to support small businesses who have connections with you. So it's like your content could be like a day in my life, which is really great. People resonate with that. Talk about like, again, how can we really be a benefit to your party or your event? Are we some kind of like the aesthetic addition? Are we that fun party vibe? So so always take time to like know your community, build connection with them, communicate with them, reply to them. So yeah, again, it's always about connection at this point. You can't really like hard sell on things. So
yeah.
yeah, so that's how you can take advantage of the
I'm totally
platform.
with you. Like, I feel like that connection piece is also super important on Instagram. Like
Mm-hmm.
responding to DMs,
Mm-hmm.
stories with engagement stickers,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's questions or polls, like
Yeah.
offering opportunities for engagement is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
just in any social media right now, like
Yeah.
we're so beyond the point of this hard sell or this ad
Yeah.
in our face all the time. We
Yeah.
want to connect.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that side of
Oh
TikTok.
yeah. Oh, and
I'll
then I
also,
think I want to add. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, no,
I
no, go
think
ahead.
I think I wanted to add like, yeah, I guess like you could also think outside of the box. So for example, as photo booth equipments, we're kind of like limited to essentially just taking pictures and videos of people and like, offering the prints, right? But like, once you start thinking outside of the box, like for example, I just kind of had a brainstorming session with my partner, what we can do differently, and then we brainstormed with like, why don't we do like a give, because for example, the most recent video that we did was a children's party, and like what better way to enhance a children's party experience by giving away things, right? So it's like, so, and then children love games, so it's like we made a game out of a photo booth, which not many people think about, because it's like all they could think of is taking a picture. But what we did was we spoke to the mom, and we were like, hey, is it okay if we can do like a little fun giveaway segment at a photo booth? So it's like, let's say your son, who's like 3 years old, will do like a simple pose, and then we'll like kind of let the guest guess the mystery pose, and if they guess it right, then we'll give them a prize or give them like a giveaway or a swag. So that's what we did, and that kind of like clicked also, because people now saw not just photo booth being fun, but us, the team, being fun, and we're
Yeah.
not just like the attendant sitting there and like, yo, take your pictures, go. Like, we're actually like, yo, we want to interact with your kids, we're fun, we're not just some vendor or people who work at your party, we're your friend, we're your family member also at your party. So I feel like if you could think of content or ideas that will be outside of the box, like, yeah, focus on the feeling of what the photo booth gives rather than just photos and videos, because there's so much more. It could be like dancing, like most recently, we had the bride and groom cut their cake in front of a photo booth, and I just started taking pictures from the photo booth, just like clicking on the screen and stuff like that. And then we're in the process of making like a video of like, hey, we don't just capture moments that are like in the booth, we capture moments that are like the feeling of the event, which is them cutting the cake and stuff. So there's so much stuff that people could think about if can just like experiment on one idea at a time and expand it and focus on the feeling and experience rather than
Absolutely.
something. So yeah.
Yes, I love that. It is
Yeah.
absolutely all about the
Hmm.
experience. That's
Hmm.
that's how you differentiate yourself. Like
Hmm.
even if you have the same photo booth, the
Hmm.
way that you differentiate is that you add value, you
Yeah.
show value, you
Hmm.
you demonstrate it. And I love that video of because I
Hmm.
remember watching that TikTok of you at the kids party and like you were right there crouching underneath, like helping the little kid. I thought like watching that it was like
Hmm.
a family member or something because you
Yeah.
it's just how that really translated across the screen of like
Hmm.
your care and
Hmm.
the that really translated, so that was so
Thank
good.
you.
I loved that. I was like,
You.
I would trust you at my kids party. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like just
Hmm.
communicating that in just those
Hmm.
little seconds on
Hmm.
TikTok is just
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That,
So
that
good.
that's what we really wanted. Yeah, I agree.
So good. And you really added value by doing something unique, which is why I think you guys got so popular on TikTok was
Hmm.
like just the most recent video I can't get out of my head, like all of the florals
Hmm.
around the booth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you serious? Like I'm like, this is beautiful. Did you did you go to the bride and say like, hey, listen, like I want to do this? Or was that something like you guys worked on together? Like how did that happen?
Yeah, so that event was actually last minute, and then it was held at their backyard. So it was a backyard wedding reception, and it turned out that that day was just super hot and nobody was sitting on the table, on the chairs. So basically the flowers were kind of like just there. They were not necessarily going to waste, but they were just there. But nobody was using it, nobody was. And then, coincidentally, like after some time, we were just chatting with, I think it was the groom's mom, as we normally would, in between like the downtime, we would just chat with everybody, and like, and yeah, she was just giving positive words, like, oh, your team is really like super friendly, and we didn't even feel like you guys were working. We felt like you guys were just part of the family, which again, we wanted to convey. So once you have that like kind of relationship, I just asked politely like, hey, is it okay if I take a few photos, because they knew that we were starting out, and they were so nice about you know how they could support us. So I was like, can I borrow some flowers and just like put them around the booth and make it pretty, because everybody's like using the photo booth and they're gonna look at it anyway, so you want your flowers to be a focal point, right? So let's just like work together and stuff. And then before we packed up, I also asked if if we could take the a picture of the photo booth, against your backdrop instead of like, so it looks like really pretty. And they were like, yeah, go for it, go for it. So I think it also depends because, sometimes you can't do that, or or most of the time you can't do that with like people you don't really know. But once you build that connection, um, yeah, because I've always had a dream of decorating that booth with flowers. Just we don't have the budget for it, or at least my partner would be like, "Why do we need it?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"But it's flowers." So yeah, just asking politely, and yeah, and I think she was a florist, but she doesn't do it anymore. So, but yeah, just taking advantage of what you have, and yeah, it was always
Would
just
you like, now that you've done it and you've seen like the
mm,
response from it,
mm,
would you pitch this again to a bride, a future bride, and say, hey, look, this is what this experience can look like?
mhm,
Do you have like, can you arrange with your florist to like bring
mhm.
some extra florals to put around the booth? Like, is that
Yeah.
something you would propose?
Yeah, actually that's like part of our pipeline because
Yeah,
we again, we're not at least the vision that we have is not just, like yeah, largely it's photo booth, but we also want to kind of expand it to like the whole experience. So part of our pipeline is because I'm, learning floral arrangements myself.
love it.
Right. So, that could be a part of it, but obviously we're not focused on that at the moment, but like in the future, that's something that we want. And yes, I agree. It's something that we have been trying to pitch with, other brides, especially like ones that I know that are, so it's like every time I get an inquiry and I knew the venue would be like aesthetically pleasing, I would try to talk to them and offer more things like, hey, what do you think about me doing this instead? So it's like I offer something that they don't normally, or they have not paid, and it makes their experience even better because it's like, oh wow, they're willing to go the extra mile by adding floral arrangements, and it looks good on our marketing as well. But it's like, I bring joy to them by adding more services that they didn't pay for. So we do have more plans than just floral arrangements. That's something that I have in line up for next year. So see how busy we are. It's next year, but yeah, we have something like that in mind. So
I
excited.
love that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So cool. So cool. I want to
Mhm.
ask, so like I have on our notes, like asking about
Mhm.
like financial success and things
Uh-huh.
like that, but
Uh-huh.
I kind of want to ask about, I mean, since you kind of started, it sounds like you didn't really go into it thinking like, oh, this is going to be our full-time thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's part-time, right? Like you also have your full-time jobs.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you see it as something, is that your goal in the future, maybe to have this be your full-time thing? Or do you think you'll keep your full-time job?
Yeah, so we've always asked that. I think on a personal level, I do like the thought of it just remaining as a passion project.
Mhm.
So whether that be part-time or full-time, because I feel like right now the reason why we're kind of thriving is because because our full-time jobs sustain us, it's like I'm not in a hurry to sort of book you, or basically I'm not in a hurry to sort of do so much more than what we can handle. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'm able to focus more on quality. And yeah, it's still a question right now. Definitely something in the future, but I don't think that's just going to be one thing. Like if ever, it might be like a whole events industry itself or something. But I like the fact that for me, knowing myself on a personal level, it's a passion. So my passion is just like there, and you can see it. It's like, even if we offer more things, that's totally fine because again, we have our day job sustaining us financially, and it's like we can offer more because of that. And that
Yeah,
makes the whole experience for the clients even better, and the marketing even better. So yeah,
I love it.
maybe I don't know, it might change, but like right
Yeah,
now it's like I really just want to keep it as a passion.
I
So
love it. I
yeah,
love it. So,
yeah.
do you want to share like, so you booked 20 events, like your
Mhm.
financial like success so far and
Mhm.
maybe your goals?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think so. Oh, the goals. Or wait, what was your question? Oh,
Just like
anyway.
your financial success so far within your business since you started in June, technically, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like what, a month? It's
Like,
funny.
yeah, like 3 weeks.
I know. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just so overwhelming. And all I can say is because normally we would collect all the payments right a week before the event or something like that. But yeah, the total amount of bookings that we're getting is I would say close to more than 15 grand now, just the value of bookings alone. And yeah, I think it's like we're set to hit our break even point by the end of this year, I feel.
Wow.
But like again, there are other people who have done it quicker than us, which again, we're totally fine with that because I feel like we're reinvesting more in marketing, not in ads, but more like I just want pretty things to market. So, so I feel like that's why we're not breaking even because my partner's like, why don't you buy flowers? And I'm like, I like it, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're focused on just like really making it stable growth and making everything just look wow. So that's why we're not breaking even.
I love that
But
though.
we are. But
That
yeah,
is,
so
yeah.
yeah.
I want to ask about maybe like a struggle that you
Mhm,
had kind of in the beginning. I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but
mhm,
maybe
mhm.
share a struggle that you had and then how you overcame it, or if
Yeah.
it's a current struggle, like if you
Mhm.
how you're working on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was struggling with the number of leads in the beginning. If it, like, because back in April when we first started, we did events for our friends, and they were birthday parties. And for me, it's like people think we're just a birthday party, rental and stuff. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But we wanted, or at least I knew that I wanted to focus on weddings. So, and I think I mentioned this earlier. I was terrified in the beginning because when I started to, read more Facebook posts, 'cause I think like when you start something, you just read everything that you can, like listen to all the podcasts that you can. So it's like when I read through the Facebook post about other photo booth owners who have the same booth as ours and couldn't get any leads. So honestly, I was terrified. And, at that time, because, your accounts are new, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they weren't like really taking off. Um, and you had no choice but to run some ads. And we did try some ads. They worked a bit, but we again, it was too expensive for us to sustain running ads. So yeah, it was just basically the number of leads. But then when we started to do so we gave away a free wedding to this fantastic couple. And I feel like that's when we started the whole videos, and that's how it took off. So yeah, I feel like we struggled with the leads, but now that we validated um the product itself and the experience that we bring, now I'm kind of personally struggling on I guess closing them because I haven't, responded to every single one. And it's like, sometimes our price point is a little bit too high, which again is fine because we're targeting more like a premier service.
Hmm.
So and I'm really a bad example of like I don't follow up within 24 hours and stuff, which I know is like bad because like other photo booths, oh, you have to do it in 24 hours or like within 3 days. And I'm like, it took me 14 days.
Oh
It took me
my
so
gosh.
long. I know it's really bad. So I guess managing, because we honestly didn't expect to
Hmm.
grow that fast, that I couldn't keep up,
Hmm.
which is a good problem. And I'm so grateful that we have that problem. But yeah, as soon as we get everything settled, then maybe we'll solve that. But for now, it's like, oh, so
Yeah. Well, and I think
mhm.
like in my mind is like, oh, you can maybe look into like a VA.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
somebody like maybe a family member or friend,
yeah,
you can be like, hey,
yeah,
this is your task, this is your job, this is what I want you to know, and like do it. You know what I mean? Just to like
yeah.
offload that load off your back.
I agree. And I think also, again, on a person, again, this is just personal level. It's like
But
sometimes when you're so passionate about your branding or your baby, it's like hard for you to
yeah.
ask others to do it because because you feel like, are they gonna like use the same emojis as you? Are they gonna like, really care about the customer? I don't know. But so that's why I feel like I have to do it, which again, when you're running something this big, you should learn how to let go, which I'm in the process of learning because I feel like I still have to be super hands-on because again, the bar that we set or the expectations that we set is like I need to keep that quality. So if you do it, I don't know, So yeah,
It,
it's just a me thing.
oh
But I
no, I
agree.
totally relate to that because I'm that same way. Like I'm
Mm.
like, oh no, this is my baby. Why would I let
Yeah,
anyone else touch this? Yeah, like
exactly.
it's very, very difficult, especially when it's something that you're super passionate about,
Mhm.
because you
Exactly.
really feel like, okay, no one's gonna match this passion.
I agree.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's definitely like I'm working on that too, so we can work
Yeah.
on this together
Yeah,
and
I
figure
know
this
that.
out. Yeah, so
Perfect. Yeah. Mhm.
one of the last things I like to ask everyone
Mhm.
that I interview
Mhm.
is, what is your biggest advice to
Mhm.
maybe anybody coming into the industry
Mhm.
who's thinking about starting a photo booth business? What would be your biggest word of advice?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, I thought about that, and I feel like for us, it's always looking at the bigger picture or long-term growth rather than short-term growth.
Mm,
So, there's so many like experiences that we've had personally. So, like as I mentioned, the photo we didn't realize that the booth itself was heavy and challenging to do solo. It has to be, done by two people. But like the more that we thought about our branding and vision, like how aesthetically pleasing the mirror is, it's like we just need to suck it up and just deliver. So I feel like that's one of like the ways that we held on to despite it being heavy is we knew that the vision is to provide a dreamy setup for brides and or for any event host. So no matter how challenging the product is, we have to deliver. And it's the same thing with other events as well. I think I've encountered posts about, doing free events, whether influencers, celebrities and stuff. And there's always that hesitation of like, my labor is not free. I don't want to do it. But for me, as again, I've worked in marketing and I can say that, as long as you do your research and you feel like you need the exposure or you can develop that kind of relationship, do it because it's like it gives you experience, it gives you again exposure. And like I said, we did our free event and that got us our 9,000 followers on TikTok. So if you're immediately close-minded with the fact that you're doing a free event because you're wasting money or you're doing a lot of expenses short term, then you should look at it more on a long-term basis. And yeah, it's like uh yeah, what will set you apart, things like that. And again, for us, we had that vision in mind, and for us that was our north star, to provide like a
mm.
dreamy experience on your day, whether that's photos, me holding your child or something. So it's like as long as you hold on to your north star of a vision long term, then this will help you with decision making, prioritization, and everything else will just fall into place if you have that long term goal plan. Because I think for us is our long term goal is not just being a photo booth company, but we really want to be like a friend and a family member and make it just like a dreamy experience, lighting up your event. That's why it's called Dreamlight, because we want to be like a dreamy experience that lights up your event. So that's why it's like so easy for us to make content that doesn't just revolve around photo booth. We hold your child, we do giveaways, we say things like, oh, your outfit is amazing. So yeah, just a big picture, and I feel like that will definitely help also with your struggles, whatever you're going through. Just keep in mind the big picture, not short term, then it will definitely help you. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's such great advice. I hope everyone is like, rewind this and listen to that part again. Like it's so good because it
Mhm,
all ties back to your passion. It all
mhm,
ties back to the why.
mhm.
Like when
Yeah.
you have a why that is absolutely concrete and you know why you're doing what you're doing, then the
Mhm,
hard days won't be hard because you'll
mhm.
still have that passion and that North Star, like you said. Like
Yeah.
I love
Mhm,
that reference.
mhm.
So I'm
Exactly.
so proud of you. I am
Oh,
so
thank
honored to
you.
talk to you. And I hope that everyone learned something today. I know I did. And where can everyone find you, follow you, and see what you're up to?
So we're obviously on TikTok.
Yes.
So you guys can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, and our website. So we're currently revamping our website. That's definitely like a long processing, but yeah, TikTok and Instagram is definitely our primary channels, and yeah, we're thankful that we don't have the need to advertise. So if you want new content behind the scenes, just fun stuff, TikTok and Instagram are the way to go.
And it's Dreamlight Photo Booth, right?
Yes, it's Dream
Okay.
Life Photo.
Dreamlight Photo Booth. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been so amazing. I can't wait to watch more of your journey as you guys continue to grow. And listen, I've always wanted to go to California, so maybe we'll
Oh
hop.
yes. I actually saw your September Orlando thing and I'm just like, I
I
wish.
know we're so far away. Well, and also like I'll plug our Facebook group now because you're in our
Yeah.
Facebook group, you're in our community,
Mhm.
and we just did that like poll of like, okay,
Mhm.
so everyone share where you're from and stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount of people in
Mhm.
California is
Mhm.
incredible.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of other people, a lot of other
Yeah.
boothers there. Not a lot of people who have your booth, only a few do
Yeah.
in our group,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll put our information down for our
Yeah, for
Facebook group
sure.
as well. So.
Oh, and then I think before we end, I just want to tell everyone who's watching this that, Nicole has been a great like person. Like even though you haven't really met her, it's like when you watch her YouTube videos or even build the community that she's built, it's like it's amazing. It's just inspiring. And again, you can tell that she's truly making this out of passion. And it's like the culture that she created in this community is nothing like I've ever seen in of all the Facebook groups that I've joined. It's like there is no dumb question. Everybody's like helping out one another. And that's something that you wanna be a part of, especially when you're starting out. So I would highly recommend her to, yeah, her Facebook group, everything, just like everything that she does, just do it. It's like her life, her son. I'm just like, I want to be her friend. So, so yeah,
Literally,
so
I'm literally
yeah.
crying. Thank you so, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate this kindest words. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Mhm.
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah,
All
you've
right.
helped out a lot, so it's the least we could do. So
It's literally like I love to do it. It's my passion. I don't sleep. Like I live, eat, and breathe this
yeah.
stuff. I love it. So I'm so thankful for you. Thank you for your time
Yeah,
today.
thank
And
you.
I know we'll be in each other's DMs, so we'll chat soon.
Yes.
All
All
right,
right.
bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, share it with a friend. And if you want to become a photo booth owner, I have a ton of resources available on this channel, and I would love for you to join our Facebook community. Like Shar said, we really love to be able to help and encourage those that are interested in the photo booth industry and those who are kind of just starting out. We're here to help, we're here to grow together, and I hope I see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.